Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another live episode of Jacob's Ladder. Of course, I am your host, Jacob Israel. This is going to be like a movie. It's going to be like a great movie, a movie that I watched back in the day called Escape from LA, which has some underlying message that I got to tell you I have to share with you today. I got to share with you today. Everybody's sharing Escape from LA with me just recently. And, well, I started looking into it, and it's freaky. Take a look at that thumbnail. We got earthquakes. We got riots. We got a lot of stuff going on, and it's just Saturday. It's just afternoon. Welcome all to the show. Do me a favor. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Smash the like quick, especially if you're watching this on the replay. It's important to get those likes in right now. I'm happy that you're here. It's getting a little weird, okay? It's getting a little weird. When we last left our saga, we were talking about this possibly coming next. Do you remember this video that I just did? Shame, shame, shame. All the things that were going on. And this, at the time, was happening in San Diego. I just did this show. My question was, is this next? Because the ICE protests were going very, very wrong, and they have gotten a lot worse. And now it looks like, go figure, it looks like, well, they're sending in the National Guard. The stuff that's happening right now, all around the world, it's something else. But there's a lot of stuff that I'm noticing. You're probably noticing too in your timelines and in your feeds on social media. You're probably seeing like an army of tanks being rolled into the country. I'm going to show that to you. All the big time influencers, the political ones, leaning right, we'll say like Mario Newfall. Well, he said, this is not China. This is not this. This is not that. This is America. As if it was some terrible thing. But I don't know if you noticed, there's a military parade going on, okay? And that's happening on Donald Trump's birthday. So it's not like, this is not like something that you should be too freaked out about when you see all these tanks coming, because here's a picture of the tanks being wheeled in. The military parade is scheduled for June 14th. That is our president's birthday. Yeah. It's, a lot of people are questioning. They're saying, is there more to it than that? Is he pulling a Kim Jong-un, how they have the big military parades on their birthday? This is something that Donald Trump's wanted to do for a long time. He's wanted to show the world America's force, their strength. He says, why are we not showing the world how powerful we are? So he's been wanting this from the beginning. He's been wanting this huge military parade. And I got to tell you something. It's good to have, patriotism. These are good things to have. Not the best things to have when it comes to, I don't know, turning against your neighbor because they believe a little bit differently, because that's happening right now. Let me just, I just got to go back and I got to show you some of this stuff because it's nuts. I just did this show about this and I said, I had a feeling it's coming. And then here we are. I even reposted, you take a look at the time right there, on June 7th, before it was declared that they were sending in the troops. I wondered, because you can't help but you see this footage right here. You see this footage. Let me just make sure that it's muted, because I don't want anybody to. But you look at this stuff, right? Now this is in your neighborhood. You notice how everybody's got a camera though? They make it out, everybody's filming everybody. It's like the whole thing just looks to me like people got to go home and just take care of their families. I mean, this is ridiculous. And they probably meant to send a message to everybody all around by showing you this stuff. They probably did that. for a reason. Keep everybody in line. I don't know. I know that at times I have some issues with the internet, and if you just stick with me, it'll probably get better any second now. I don't know if you can still hear me or not. That would be a good thing. Let me see if I could switch over to another side. Oh, it looks like I'm completely frozen. This is a good thing. I'm going to keep talking, though, regardless, until it's, kicks back in, because who wants to start a show all over again? We have these riots, they're getting ugly. People are already starting to post pictures of like a bunch of blocks and stuff being dropped off. It's freaky. The whole thing is freaky. Let me see if I can get back to over here. I don't know what's happening with my computer. I don't know what's happening with it. I hope that this is my framing is off. Sometimes this happens with the internet, and we'll get through it. But I don't know, at the same time, you heard about this terrible event that just went down in Colombia. This is not good. Okay. This was the leader who is, I believe he's still hanging in there. He just, let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see if my internet is back again. The leader he's still doing okay, but it's not looking good. Like he is right now he's in ICU. But if you look at the guy's name, let me see if I can just pull this up, because this was just strange to me. So first of all, we have this magnitude 6.3 earthquake that goes down. I mean, that alone to me is freaky, right? I mean, it's a big earthquake, and it's happening, and it happened it says 9:08 on there, but actually, according to them, local time was 8:08. It's the 88. Now, here is the senator who was a presidential hopeful, Irby. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. Fighting for life. Okay. But when I looked at their names, I said, let me look up what their meanings of their names are. Miguel Turbe is his last name. Miguel is Michael. It means who is like God. Irby is in the lower part of the village, or the lower area, like the lowest points of earth. Turbe, the tomb. Now, the earthquake that took place there's two places that they're mentioning right now in Colombia, okay? Now, this is just strange, the timing of this. One place, Parte Bueno, okay, which means to stand up and be good. Be good. Stand up. Be good. And Cundimarco, which means place of the condor, and the condor is a vulture. This was a 6.3 earthquake. Some people say it was 6.8. Some people say it's a 6 point. I'd like it to just land on 6.6 so it makes it cool. But the earthquake hit at 8:08 local time. So you put them all together. You put the names together, and you got those who are like God. It says life there. I spelled it wrong. Those who are like God in the lowest part of society, and those in the tombs of fear need to stand up and be better when the vultures circle above. I just thought that these events, it's like when they happen, why don't we look a little bit deeper? Why don't we dig a little bit deeper, see if there's any kind of a spiritual correlation that we can bring to it, because everybody's freaking out. And why wouldn't you all freak out, right? Why wouldn't you all freak out? Let me show you just some of the footage that they are, just shoving down your throats now. Okay? And before we get into Escape from LA, which is really strange. Do you know this movie? August 9th, 1996. Oof. Strange. You know what his name is? He's the Snake. His name's Snake. In fact, on the poster, it says the Snake is back. Now, this is how I figured this out right here. The Chosen Generation. He posted this for me. It's funny because I've talked about Escape from LA when they had the wildfires. And you look at this and you think, wow. Now, I'm going to come back for a second, and you're probably saying, okay, well, we get it right now. it looks like you ask, is martial law coming next? And they're sending in the National Guard, and Hegsworth, the guy who's in charge of the military, right? He says that he's got the camp. I don't know what name of the camp is, but they're on standby. Gonna lock that place down. Now, do you know that movie back in 1996, Escape from LA, with the snake, right? Well, remember Escape from New York? It was like New York became a place where everybody was deported to. Same thing with LA. All the criminals were deported to LA. This is the movie, right? This is why I had to come on here, because you look at the symbolism of it and you think it's crazy. And do you know the snake? He ends up going in there, and he has to go against what kind of a regime? Take a wild guess. A fascist regime. A fascist regime. And go figure, there's a biological weapon in this movie that could end the world. It's all about some kind of a pathogen, a biologically engineered pathogen. And people are sending me all of these videos. They're like, oh, you got to see this. They're planning on wiping out hundreds of millions of people with this biological weapon. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to repost this. I'm not going to put any faith in any of this. I'm not going to fall for it. We fell for it the last time. The last time I was spraying all my groceries down before I brought them into the house. I had rubbing alcohol everywhere. In the beginning, I was so freaked out. I thought I was ahead of the curve. But I'm on to them. I start seeing all this stuff. Let me show you some of the propaganda that's being, shared. Let's see if I can show you this. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is all happening right after we had this huge thing break down. But it's something. It's definitely something. By the way, you can follow me on X if you want, at JacobIsrael71 on X. Here's an old video about the 140,000, 44,000. All right, here we go. So I said boring. I've seen this episode before. This isn't real. But look at this guy. Now, this guy's got like millions of people that watch him. He's like revered. He gets interviews with all world leaders and everything else. He's promoted. Elon loves him and reposts him and retweets him. Not like me, who he watches quietly and he doesn't say stuff because he doesn't want to help. Because maybe, perhaps, there is a God, and maybe, perhaps, this world doesn't want that known. But he shared this. He goes, this isn't America. This is America. This isn't Russia. This isn't China. Like, this is some scary thing. But I don't know if you remember correctly. This happened already. There we have the big phallic symbol trying to impregnate the heavens. Nearby, you have the Capitol building, which is the womb. It's all symbolism. Everything's a story. They're trying to get us all freaked out. It's a parade. So, really, I don't know why we're freaking out. It's a parade, And it's not something that we need to be too stressed about. This has me a little bit stressed out. But once again, with these world leaders, this is the year of that. Do you remember how I did the show? I think I even was on the Donut Show. I think we talked about this too with Paranoid American. And I talked about Samson and Luigi Mangione and how, you saw the grimace in New York City. I know it sounds a little weird. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope that you subscribe. I really do. And I hope that you all have hit like by now. I want to say hi to everybody in the live chat. It's great that you came by on a Saturday with me. Dan and I are about to go on a date. I said, give me an hour, honey. This is important stuff. It's got to get out. I got to tell people to not freak out. To not think that civil war is at their door. This is what they want us to think. Because if we're scared of that, then, it just makes it a little bit easier for us to say, yeah, no problem. Put armed guards on my street. Which is like if you're living in California right now, well, in LA area, you think to yourself, you might want to. But we got bigger fish to fry, bigger problems. I got a show coming, by the way, about asteroids and meteors and everything else. I talked about it recently, but this is going to be in the news too. We're going to hear about babooms soon. We're going to hear about these near-Earth asteroids that are coming in. They discovered a new dwarf planet too, by the way. Giving you a little bit of a sneak peek at my show coming up next week. New dwarf planet. This is big news when it comes to Nibiru and everything else. We got a lot of weird things happening, right? A lot of weird events in the world. It seems like we are entering some kind of a regime where everything's clamping down and keeping us from, a comfortable night's sleep. But they really want to have us, a little freaked out. But here's the description of an escape for L.A. Snake Plissken sent to a dystopian Los Angeles, now an island prison for outcasts. But really, forget that word. It's people that are deported there. People that immigrated there, that were sent there to be contained there. To retrieve a doomsday device stolen by the president's daughter. He battles a surreal underworld and a fascist regime to escape a deadly virus. How crazy is that? The timing of everything. And then we have this this is going to be epic, right? It's going to be epic. My birthday's on June 11th. It's coming up. If you want to support the channel, you want to get some merch, you want to say happy birthday, Jacob, I would really appreciate it. You just go into the link in the description, click more, and all the links are there. I talk to people at my gym in the morning. Rhonda Peterson's here. Thank you, Rhonda, for the super chat. I tell him he shouldn't be too stressed out about these things. You got vibes of where things are going, right? I kind of had a vibe that we would be hearing about like some kind of like martial law next. That's why I put it in the title of that video. Don't stress out if you do hear about something like that, because there is now news going around that, Antifa has scheduled a big protest at the actual place where they're holding all of the people that they've arrested. That sounds like something that could lead to disaster, right? So I'm not even going to share any of that information around because I don't want to add to the hype. I'm saying that if you're in the area and if you believe in causes like this, maybe you should believe elsewhere, because they've already been proven to be pretty corrupt. They bought mansions for themselves and took advantage of the community. These people aren't to be trusted. Anybody that's going to get you to be violent, we're being tested again. I feel like this is, Virus of the Crown round 2. I warned you back then, don't get triggered. Just settle down, because if you get triggered, if you act out, look what happened after. How many people went to the Capitol? Look at how many lives were ruined because they really believed into their cause, and they were so scared that the world was going to be taken over by this terrible Biden regime. And the whole time, if you've been on the channel, you knew, what did I say? Don't worry, he's going to be back. He's going to be back stronger and bigger and better than ever before. This is the story. God's in charge. He puts the leaders where he needs them to be. Now, I was freaked out, and I did the show about Elon and Donald, our president, and I said, I really hope that cooler heads prevail. Like, what was our prayer? We want them to come together. Hurt feelings and all that, they drive people to do emotional things. And it seems that the good news is both of these men, who are world leaders, seem to be taking the higher road. They're deleting their inflammatory posts about each other. I think that that's huge. They're wishing each other well. Some reports are Donald Trump saying, I'll never have a relationship with him again. But how many times have you ever gotten into a fight with your loved one? They're like, I'm going to leave you. I'm never going to forgive you. This is what happens. People act out emotionally. And when you act out emotionally, you hurt each other, and you end up bringing a judgment on yourselves. And all of this stuff that's happening, it is sort of a judgment, right? If people aren't throwing bricks and people aren't attacking each other, there wouldn't be any smoke canisters. There wouldn't be any, call for the National Guard. If people are following the law, the rule of law, that's what, you won't have any problems as long as the rule of law doesn't violate moral codes. And right now, I kind of saw this on the horizon as being something that was going to really be challenging for people. Because just as you're so happy right now that you never have to really worry if you're in some states that your child will be read to at a library by someone that's not dressed like a monster. Some of them were so scary. The pendulum swings both ways. People are demonized, and we got to remember that there are a lot of people in the community that are migrants and that are really stressed out and scared, and most of them are children. Let's just try to pray for all of this to find some kind of a peaceful resolve. Otherwise, it's going to be Escape from LA, and that movie was a documentary because the snake is back, right? PJ Warden, snake is back. That's crazy. Remember Donald Trump's snake? I'm not calling him a snake, by the way. But do you remember his you knew what I was. You wanted somebody to bring down the hammer. The hammer's brought. Hammer of justice. It's not pleasant. I don't know exactly what the answer is except for to have faith and to be kind and to do the good things that you're supposed to do. All right, listen, I'm going to go. I love each and every one of you. I hope you have the best day ever. This parade is going to be massive. I kind of have a feeling that this week before all of this stuff happens, I got like a very stressful week ahead of me. Danielle's going in for surgery on the 16th. Please pray for her. Insurance is covering like 40% of it, which is awesome. You know how insurance is. They should be taking care of all of it. But, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Thank you for any kind of support. The links are in the description. Have the best day ever. I love you. I can't wait to share my next show. This show, like I said before, I just had to do because it's getting to be madness. And I just don't want you to fall for it, right? I want you to think. I want you to pray. I want you to listen to that still small voice of love and peace and compassion. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.